I do always want to thank Sweda for hosting and sponsoring these types of events and sending it out throughout the counties. We are just always so excited to work with Sweda. They are a wonderful organization that serves the community in such a powerful way. Without further ado, we will get going today on branding, awareness, sales, and how to do each of those. The first thing that we really do like to focus in on is that you are not your brand. I see this mistake really quite often. There's a lot of companies that believe that, if I am the sole proprietor or if I am the single owner LLC, that what I say goes, that this is my brand, that the brand is me. And that can be true in some instances, but to create and scale and to be mindful of how you're perceived by the communities and your customers and even your employees as you grow into those places, that really radically changes. And so then we kind of have to get outside of ourselves. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Alyssa.
Yeah, so let's just go over what is branding really quick. Branding is going to be the result, that end result, that gut feeling that a person gets from when they walk into your business or when they meet you even. And that gut feeling that they get right there from when they walk in to when they leave to after, they think about it 2-3 days later. It's the overall perception that a person has of your brand as well. So my perception of like Starbucks is going to be different from, someone else. And that's kind of what their branding is. That's what that communicates to me and what it communicates to you. And moving forward, branding is not a lot of things that you think it would be. It's not your logo. It's not going to be the product. And it's not going to be your promise. And that can be a little disorienting because when you think of different brands, different businesses, you think of their logo. I said Starbucks and you probably got that like image of their logo, that green, I think it's a mermaid or a girl, popping up into your brain. And that's part of their brand, but that's not their brand. And so to kind of explain a bit, the logo is going to be the symbol. That's going to be the icon. That's going to be what people see and are recognize when encountering your brand, right? And it's not your product because that's going to be what your business, what your company gives out to people, whether it's like coffee beans or if it's, some kind of clothing, apparel. That's going to be the product that your brand has to help communicate that end result that you want that person to feel. And it's also not the promise that sets, the promise is what sets an expectation for your company. So, you promise to, do well or have maybe some of the best quality coffee beans or finest like clothing out there for, your customers, your clients. And that's the promise that you have. And the promise helps enhance that end result feeling, your overall brand. And some examples that we have after I've already talked about Starbucks and clothes would be, we have Subway. When you hear Subway, you hear their like slogan, eat fresh. And if you've gone into a few different Subways, the one here in Pullman, the one in Colfax, and maybe even one like somewhere like just random, they're fairly consistent. You walk in, you get a greeting. Okay, what can I get for you? And then the order, you pick out your bread and then you go and you give them the sandwich that you want. And it's all very consistent in how your entire experience is from the Subway here to the Subway over in maybe New York. I don't know. and that their brand and everything will appeal to the customers who want to feel like they're eating better and healthier, as opposed to McDonald's, which I love their French fries, and they also promote happiness. And for me, French fries bring me happiness, so it works. But, you know, those golden arches, you know that that's when a McDonald's is close by because you're driving or maybe you're walking and you see just these big golden arches just out there in the distance. You're like, oh, there's a McDonald's. And maybe there are some good childhood memories associated with it, or even current memories where you see it and you get like a little happy feeling inside. And their kids' meal is like a happy meal. So they strive to promote that happiness. And if you're like me and you go through the drive-through a bit more than you'd like to admit, you actually, and as much as maybe you may not like it, when after you get your order they say see you next time, and it's consistent, especially in the Pullman one. And they say it every time, and maybe if you don't like hearing it or maybe you love it, it's something that sticks, and it's that consistency of them promoting happiness in all that they do, and even in the see you next time as you're trying to drive away before they can even say it to you. That consistency is what enhances that result feeling in their branding. Another example that I have is the Kamiak Coffee Company. They are local and they are proud and they say it everywhere. And when you read up about them, you can tell that they love what they do. It shows. Something I saw on their website was that they say they want to inspire each of us to drink differently. And there's a level of education that comes with it. They help educate you on how to brew your coffee in different areas. So it's not just like you walk into, a normal coffee store. You can order their beans and learn actually how to get the best value and quality of coffee from their product, because they also walk you through it, and that there's that love for what they do, and that feeling helps enhance what their brand is. But those are just some examples that I had, if that helps communicate that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard for us to see these items or these elements from our customer's eyes or our customer's point of view. Sometimes we don't only need to try and see it from our customer's eyes, we need to see it from their pair of shoes, but not even just their pair of shoes, but their size 10. The experience, if you go into certain parking lots, right, even trying to take even that minutia of a detail, I might always drive a truck and never realize that the person who has the Honda Accord or a lower sitting vehicle scrapes the underside of their vehicle every time they go into your parking lot. And that will actually deter business. Now, every time they associate coming to your business with scraping their car. And that might not be something you can control, but that's something that we can be cognizant of. It's something we can be aware of every element of the customer experience, from the entrance of the parking lot to maybe it is a click online to leaving. What do each of those things look like? And the parking lot it's really easy to ask what in the parking lot speaks to the brand. Are the right colors on the walls? Do you have the right imagery on the windows, on the doors? Is your open sign actually even on? There are businesses, even locally, where the sign is either on when it's not supposed to be, or it's off when it's supposed to be on. And so there's a level of inconsistency that can make and this is kind of a weird thing to say, there's a level of anxiety that kind of builds up of, is this present or is it not? If I go to the website, is it consistent for me to understand that, yes, I am going to have a safe, secure ordering experience, and it's going to be shipped to me in a manner of which I am expecting? E.g., is it UPS versus USPS? We're getting towards the holiday season. How are we going to be able to hit and make those deadlines? Is there a notice, right, that says that, hey, we need your order in by the 10th of December to make sure that we hit by Christmas? Those are the types of things that we do have to be mindful of. And the moment that we enter into a store or a place, or maybe you're bringing equipment into a home if you're a service provider, what is in that experience? What's the smell? What are the visuals? What's the sound? And music is like the easy one. I know everyone has their Christmas playlist from either Spotify or SiriusXM or whoever playing right now. And although it might be rough for the retailer to hear the same Christmas songs for 8 hours a day for the next 2 months, your customer loves it. Even if they're only there for 5 minutes, it's about the experience. It's about how are you communicating a positive experience to that individual, just like Alyssa was saying. What's the greeting? Right? How are you greeting someone? Is it something that is particular to you, to your company, to your brand, to how you address your customers? Right? Is it just hello, how can I help? Or is it, have you heard about our latest promotion? And a really good example of this is board games. Board games have had kind of like a huge renaissance in the last decade. It's been incredible. And one of the kind of a sales technique that has worked for a lot of them is they will set up a rental program so that you can rent a board game, because board games are anywhere from $40, $60, $80, even over $100 in some cases. They'll set it up so that you can rent the board game. And if you like the board game, the cost of your rental goes towards the cost of purchase, which is kind of like an easy, small investment to test and play test and see if, oh yeah, my family will actually play this on a routine basis, or, oh my goodness, this was horrible. I am glad I did not pay $60. And so even just in a rental program, that speaks volumes to the experience of the user. That speaks volumes to the customer who is worried about spending that kind of money, especially if they're not sure they'll like it. One thing they noticed was that there was a stark difference in board game stores that would engage the customer at the get-go versus those who would not. And that's as simple as, hey, welcome in today. Have you heard about our board game rental program? No, I haven't. Tell me about it. And it's that simple, right? The board game companies and shops that kind of failed in the rental programs, the difference was in the greeting. One greeting versus no greeting. It was a very stark difference in statistics and how things were run, how things are approached. And it's just something that, have we trained our employees to have those appropriate greetings? Have we trained them to have that spark of joy, to engage the customer in a way that would be fun and delightful? And I really like that word delight. What are ways that you can delight your customer from start to finish that reflect your brand? Even after purchase, right? Like, I bought the thing, I get it home. Is there anything in the bag? Or is there anything in the, are there stickers? Are there cards? There's all kinds of things that we can do to help spark joy instead of instigating what we call post-decision dissonance. And post-decision dissonance is when you get home and it's kind of like buyer's remorse, but you're trying to talk yourself into, oh yeah, this was a good purchase. Bobby, was that a good purchase? Linda, was that a good purchase? Help me. This was good, right? And so we will either try and talk ourselves into believing that it was a good purchase, or we'll ask others to validate whether or not it was a good purchase. Yet there are simple things we can do to help spark joy in the brand, in the experience, in that reputation that's left, and get rid of post-decision dissonance to encourage further purchases.
Some examples of that would be something like a thank you note. A lot of, especially smaller businesses that I've seen, what they'll do is when they're sending out their product, there'll kind of be like a thank you so much for ordering from my tiny shop. And like, is that thank you note personalized? Did they write the name of the person who made the order? Or if it was a gift, do they say like, hey, like, do you want to leave like a little gift note to the person that you're giving it to? Like, oh, here's a little gift for you. And those little things can help make a difference, because when you get your product, you just think, oh, okay, I'm gonna get my new, my new shirt, or this little thing for my brother or my niece or nephew in the mail, and then I'm just gonna wrap it up and send it to them. But it's part of that experience. And along with thank you notes, did you get little bits of merch? Did they throw in a couple of stickers that kind of like help reflect their brand a little bit? And did they say like, oh, these are just some stickers for you? Or there's a little, like she does like handmade jewelry. And what she'll do is sometimes with an order, if she has extra stuff that's a little, not like older, but stuff that's kind of been sitting for a little bit, and she's like, oh, well, here's a little extra gift for you. Just take it, and those little things make a difference, especially merch, because it helps. It's a little something for you, but then you also get their brand out there. And that's a nice way to help promote yourself in a way that also delights your customer and keeps them coming back. And then another example is the customer experience. Adam was talking about just getting into the parking lot and what that's like for a person who drives, a truck or maybe an itty bitty little car. And those differences and it can influence how a person feels from when they walk into the store. And an example that I have for that is I was coming back to Pullman from the west side, and I wanted to go get a boba because why not? And and I had gone and I walked in, and it was a small shop, like they were very new. And I walked in, it was really cute. There was like neon signs of their logo and everything like that. I was like, oh, it's cute. But I'd never been there. And so I was like, I don't know what to get. Because it's usually hit or miss with places like that. It could be really cute, but the quality could be or it could be really amazing and you just found this little hole in the wall. And from when we walked in, we were greeted with like hey, we'll be right with you guys. We're just going to finish up these orders and I'll be right with you. Okay, cool. And then we got helped, and the guy was like, oh, are you guys new here? And we're like, yeah, I haven't been here before. And he went and gave just a little insight to everything that they do. Like, oh, all of our teas are going to be loose leaf. Like, we don't use any of the powders or this or that. And then I couldn't decide on a drink because I'm very indecisive about a lot of things, especially where to eat and what to drink. But, and I was like, okay, what from your seasonal drinks do you like? He's like, oh, well, have you had their, like, it's like a pumpkin cheesecake, something. I was like, that sounds good. Wow. Okay, I'll try it. I trust you. I'll try it. Okay, well, do you want the graham cracker topping on with that? Sure. And then do you want the toasted marshmallow too? I'm like, how are you going to put a toasted marshmallow in my... Okay. He's like, yeah, so what they do is they, like, get a little torch and they, like, flambe it a little bit and then they... stick it in your drink. I'm like, oh, so there's going to be a marshmallow on fire in my cup. Cool. Then this other guy makes my drink, comes out with it, and from start to finish, he walked me through. He's like, yeah, so, we make our pumpkin jam in-house, and he's like torching the marshmallow. And that whole experience makes me want to go back again the next time I'm on the west side. Even if it's out of the way, I will find a way to get there. And I even bought a sticker from them because it was cute. But also because that experience was so good, like, I want to go back again. And it's 5 hours west of me, and I want to go back as much as I can. And so it's those little things, those little differences that keep people coming back, from how you interact with them in store to how they receive your product, or even just how they interact with you and everything around them. But those are some examples.
Yeah, and one thing I do want you to reiterate too is, as you're talking about that experience, you said, hey, you came in, the guy said, hey, we'll be right with you, and you said, hey, what do you like? I trust you, right? And that's a snap decision that happened. You entered, you had maybe 20 seconds of interaction, and there's immediately trust built to help continue to build that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the types of things that we need to be looking forward to. And that's the other thing, is when we develop a brand or we develop this experience, this reputation, this feeling that's associated with a brand, we're willing to go out of our ways to buy, to visit, to engage with the brand. That's the power of developing your brand out. And I'm a bottom line guy. Like I used to do some IT work. I'm very kind of numbers, statistics driven. We don't do things that we don't believe in, and we would never recommend things that we don't believe in. In 1980, like, and in my mind, I'm thinking like Sears and Roebuck. Like, I love Sears and Roebuck. I have a great affinity towards that. Their company was evaluated based on their solid, tangible assets. How many chairs, how many shirts, how many garage door openers. I actually still have a Sears and Roebuck garage door opener. It still runs. It's awesome. I love it. That's the way a company was evaluated in the 1980s. That really changed as we got into this digital age. In 2010, tangible assets accounted for about 30 to 40% of a company's value. And there's some kind of like middle gray area, but then almost 30% of a current business's value is attributed to its branding. And I feel that as a service provider, I don't really have a building I can sell. I don't really have a lot of equipment. It's computers. We have some cameras. Our value is in our client list and the way that our clients feel about us. Our branding and our reputation is the value of our company. And I do get hit up to sell at the turn of every year. I think I had about 6 or 7 holdings groups investigate, ask me questions if we were looking to sell, and we're not. We're here for good. There's a lot of stuff there, but even in a business that doesn't have tangible assets, there's still a value that's being attributed because of a branding. And to reiterate, close to 30% of your business's value may be attributed to branding. Like that is huge. Ooh, I apologize. This slide is cutting off on my screen. Brands that are consistently presented can expect to see an average revenue increase of about 33%. So working on your brand and creating a consistent brand experience and creating a consistent brand reputation, you can expect to see, I would say like 33% is a little bit on the high end statistically. But if you were able to today increase your revenue by 15 to 25%, why not? Why not? That's why we're here. That's why we push this. This is why we develop the things that we do. And that's why the workshop at the end is so important, because it just makes a world of difference in understanding who you are and how you're moving forward. And okay, so I talked about revenue gains. There's also cost savings, right? Because when you have a consistent brand and you have a consistent collateral and a consistent vibe that you're trying to push, it does result in lower cost of marketing creative. And we see that, when we work with a company that comes in and they already have all their branding materials, great, we're not having to build those materials and it's a lower cost of creative. Versus those who, hey, we're starting everything fresh, or it's scattered. Oh, we sometimes use these images, sometimes we use that. We bought this a long time ago. We don't even know if we like it. We end up having to build a lot. The other thing too is a lower cost of collateral. And when I say collateral, I'm talking about like your business cards, your brochures, your card magnets, your signage. When you have a consistent brand identity and visual identity built for your brand, you're not reprinting a whole lot. Your total cost of printing is a lot less. And even for digital assets, your cost to develop and to implement and use those is considerably less. The other thing that we have noticed in the companies that we're working with is that there's a faster training time of employees. Because if we're able to communicate to an employee how we want to make a customer feel, how to be mindful of these areas, how to be mindful of your greetings, how to be mindful, and you're able to communicate the brand itself, your employees will get it. It's the employee who doesn't care or doesn't understand or just doesn't get it. That's the one that doesn't understand the value of the brand, doesn't understand the value of the company, and understand the value of what they're doing. Regardless of whether they're being paid, 15 or 25 an hour or 45 an hour. The pay is a little bit irrelevant in terms of your training and trying to get them on board to be a true, proper team member. When you're able to communicate that brand, they're able to become a much more effective employee faster.